So I'm Lori Golden. I have a little bit over 25 years of recruiting and talent acquisition and leadership experience, primarily all in disruptive early stage tech startups. So building talent functions in empty space. So I'm Team Hoodie. I'm representing Team Hoodie here. Yay. Okay. I'm going to always keep it real and bring my authentic self to whatever I do, including this. So, in the land of adapting and being totally authentic and real, I'm going to let you know that, like I said, I'm not a structured presentation speaker, and I'm not great at putting presentations together. So, my option putting this together was to use AI and spend 20, 30 minutes putting it together and free up that other amount of time for, you know, thinking about what I wanted to say. Or I could spend 12 hours putting together a really bad presentation. So I chose AI, and I figure it fits with the topic of conversation anyway. And the result is, well, it maybe 70% aligns with what I want to talk about. But I was able to double down on human connection during that saved time, which is, I think, part of the point. So I'm going to just click here to the next step. So the topic here is adapt or fade. I mean, this is very much kind of aligns with some of the other topics we've heard today. But I'm just going to bring it from my flavor. I'm just going to add my flavor to it, which really centers normally around shifting mindset and reframing narratives. The adaptation that we all need to kind of go through at this point isn't reserved for one particular audience in our space. So this isn't just a conversation to people who are looking to pivot and shapeshift into something different and relevant. It's not just focused to people who are in seat right now and still need to adapt, because obviously the processes that we've been building for the last 20 years don't necessarily align to the current job market and the shifts that we're seeing around usage of AI, et cetera. So there's a lot of stuff in this presentation, but I'm not going to talk about everything in here. I'm going to talk about the things that I think are most critical, and I don't want to be redundant to a lot of stuff that I've heard already said. Okay. So obviously we know, I mean, like, this is an example of, like, we know the world is changing. Like, is anybody surprised? There's more pressure with all the layoffs. We're expected to do more with less, less resources, more tech. The impact of AI on recruitment obviously is making a huge wave. Um, there's some data here. I even said in the data, I'm not sure if that's the right percentage. It says 88% of companies are using AI in recruitment. I don't know if I believe that percentage, but we do know, without being able to validate the exact numbers, that companies are increasing their usage of AI, right? In all aspects. And so let's learn what's the best way to use AI for recruiting, or for your job search, or for your pivot. So human connection in AI. Me personally, if you see my content ever at all, I'm always talking about using AI for the low hanging, low value, non human connection pieces of the process to free you up to double down and spend more energy and time on human connection, much like what I chose to do putting this presentation together. So let's talk about the fear, because I don't know that we talk about the elephant in the room as much as we probably should. I think there's a lot of fear right now. I'm an empath, and I can feel when I talk to people, there's a lot of fear. Okay. And I think this is where we have a great opportunity to do some of that reframing the narrative. Hold on, let me just move my photo bar. Okay. So AI's role in evolution. I've been saying this for the last decade. I've been involved with AI companies since a little after 2010. So that's not entirely new to me, but I've always said AI isn't here to replace you. It's here to free you up from things so that you can put your time and energy into the activities that AI can't do, right? AI can't develop relationships. As much as these companies are trying to make that happen, that's not necessarily the best use case for AI. But if you use it and implement it in areas, no matter what your role is right now, whether you're in seat doing recruiting for a company or whether you're in the pivot right now and reinventing yourself like myself and many others, or whether you're in a active job search, there's an opportunity to leverage AI well in all those areas. Okay. But anyway, it's not. I've said this quote many times. AI is not here to replace you, but it will replace the people who refuse to work with it and adapt to it. So we all have to adapt to AI and just use it in the best possible way. So here's another data point. 67% of hiring decision makers believe AI is enhancing recruitment by increasing efficiency and reducing bias. Again, I don't know if it's 67%, but I will say the sentiment is real. Decision makers do believe that AI can enhance, and that may just mean reduce costs. But either way, um, it's being forced on us whether we like it or not, right? I don't think the conversation anymore is about whether AI is a good idea. I think I still see a lot of that conversation happening. And I guess what I'm here to say is like shift away from the conversation around whether or not you like it. It doesn't really matter, but you can find use cases that you do like, right? The idea is to align technology and AI to what's real for you. What do you value? You value human connection, so you automate and use AI in the areas where that isn't, impacted, actually freeing you up, which is what the third piece is. Instead of replacing recruiters, AI frees them from mundane tasks. At least that's what they keep telling us. So, all right. So again, radical reinvention. We all know it's time to shift. Companies are increasing AI investments. Data says 60% of companies, and this is a smart recruiter quote, so I might believe it. 60% of companies increased their investments in automation and AI last year. I believe that. That tracks for me, and probably for most. So sorry, I have to just keep moving this photo bar around because it's blocking my prezo. Okay. So personal reinvention. Look, I personally have been laid off two, almost three times in the last 3 years. A little over a year ago, I realized that I had to shift. I didn't know if I was going to be aged out of the tech startup world because let's be real. I'm like, I don't know, 10, 15 years older than the people founding these companies at this point. So I knew that I had to, kind of shift my intentionality. I want to leverage the 25 plus years of talent experience I have. And so I thought, well, I like talking, except for this monologue style. I don't really like this. I like talking where people can ask questions and respond and like we can have a discussion. So, but anyway, I like using my voice, is the point, right? I like using my voice. I like showing up authentically me, imperfect, sort of all over the place, but with passion and energy behind what I'm talking about. So I thought that, listen, I've been in disruptive tech startups, so adapting to change and constantly shifting has been part of the gig for me throughout my entire career. So this part's not new, right? Adapting, using what you've got, leveraging your strengths, kind of reimagining your unique value proposition. I mean, that's something that comes naturally for me. So I wanted to build my pivot around being an early adopter of adapting and helping other people do it too. So I have, I wanted to start speaking. So I just started reaching out to people to talk about, opportunities to speak. And I wanted to get on podcasts, which is what I really love. I love, like Anna was talking about the audio events and the ability to kind of speak together as a group or two people or with your audience and have a vital impactful conversation and discussions. That's what I love, so I started doing that. I didn't ask for permission. I didn't wait for anyone to invite me. I went out and found the opportunities. I wanted to go to RecFest. I wanted to be involved. I wanted to volunteer and support. I ended up hosting a stage. I ended up moderating a panel. Those were awesome opportunities. I want to be seen as somebody who is a resource to our community. I didn't necessarily value community prior to the pandemic the way I do now. And today, I believe it is the only thing that gets us through this next chapter is community. So I really just wanted to embed myself, entrench myself, and that was kind of what started my pivot. The other thing is because I've been in tech for so long, I used my passion for technology and my understanding of it to reach out to talent tech companies and offer advisory services. Those, hey, I want to pick your brain. I love your background and I want to pick your brain. It's an unpaid opportunity, but it is the opportunity to get online with founders who often aren't from our space and are building tech for us to give our opinions, right? It's a really awesome. So like this is what my pivot has looked like. It's unstructured, but it's very real. It's what are the things I enjoy doing and where can I add that value and doing those things and kind of inviting myself into people's ecosystems. That's kind of how it's worked. So got to move my photos again. Okay. So diversification of security, portfolio careers. I mean, this isn't for everybody, but I honestly think that whether you're in seat working, whether you're pivoting to something else, or whether you're in a job search, there is an opportunity to kind of reframe your thinking and shift your mindset around portfolio careers in the gig economy. So we've been talking about the gig economy for 20 years. And I'm not going to make this a presentation about the gig economy and portfolio careers because somebody else is doing that. But I do want to talk about how you can rethink this whole thing. Okay. Um, it doesn't, again, I'm not saying W-2 jobs are dying or going away. They will be less of them and they will be tougher to get as we already are experiencing. But the diversification is just a good strategy in general. So no financial advisor on the planet would suggest that you stick all of your resources and all of your money in one particular bucket, right? So that if that bucket falls out, if the bottom comes out of that basket, all your eggs are gone. Well, that's a lot like how I am starting to, after my several layoffs over the last couple of years, that's how I'm starting to view our careers, right? Many people have picked up side hustles. Many people are doing other complementary things. But the point is just the idea of spreading your eggs around in multiple baskets. There's all kinds of ways you can do this. There's a hub and spoke model where you get super fixed on your core UVP and the core audience. And then you can offer several different offerings as long as the audience doesn't shift and your core Y and UVP also is fixed, right? You can add on a lot of different lines as long as some are passive because you can't obviously be in a lot of places at once doing a lot of things, but that doesn't mean you can't structure it in such a way that you have passive income, non-passive income, but different lines. So now I'm doing some coaching, I'm doing some consulting, I'm doing some talent tech advisory, I'm doing some speaking. Again, it's like that hub and spoke model, if you will. It's my version of an authentic portfolio career for me. Oh, let me go back and just add one more point to that. Oh, crap. How do I go back? Okay, wait, shoot. Oh, how do I go back? See, this is the stuff I don't like about Prezos. Anyone know how I go backwards? Oh, wait, here we go. Okay. So I just want to add too that this also applies if you're working. So if you're working in your role that's been very like niche focused, uh, there is an opportunity for you to get additional certification or learn about some of the adjacent pieces of work to what you're currently doing. So if you're doing straight recruiting, 100% recruiting, you have an opportunity to go take a course on DEIB and get a certification or employer branding or whatever are some adjacent areas, right? Maybe employee engagement is something interesting to you. But again, you don't have to be displaced and out of a role to be thinking about how you can reinvent and shapeshift for the changes that are happening in our space. All right. So this is the stuff that matters to me. This is why I use AI. So I use AI because I think it's really important to double down on human connection in an AI world. Um, it's what's most important about us shifting AI the way that it should shift in terms of not replacing human connection. We don't want AI to replace human connection. We want it to augment human connection. We want to use technology to connect with more people, to have more time to connect with people, to deepen our relationships with people. So um, I really say this is our opportunity to double down on all the things that AI can't do. AI doesn't have human empathy, right? It can't replace that. So double down on that, how you and your unique value proposition, how you incorporate empathy, deep connection, and strategic thinking into how you connect with people, into your candidate experience, into your employer brand. Power of human connection. This is where I said the pick your brain requests, take those opportunities to learn. Even if you don't think you have anything to offer, most often they just want you to review their tech and give your honest feedback. That's a great opportunity. The more you do that, say you do one a week, you're going to a month from now be so much more well versed on AI, how it's used badly. I mean, I saw some of the worst use cases for AI about a year ago, but I have this understanding and depth around it now where I can show up to spaces talking about it deeply with tech founders, with engineers. So that's an opportunity for everybody. And it's maybe not for everybody. Maybe tech isn't everybody's, get down. It's mine. Engagement and quality. So there's a data point. Recruiters who prioritize, I mean, this is like a no-brainer, but recruiters who prioritize human touch points see higher engagement and better quality hires. Makes sense. Okay. So then there's this quote here. I don't know that I need to say it. Double down on humanness. Yes. How you thrive. Okay. See, I'm sorry, I can't stick to like a script. I'm an unscripted human being. I hope that everybody is getting something out of this. I can't even see the comments, so I have no idea if anyone's getting anything out of this. I have no idea. So just bear with me. I'm going to keep monologuing as uncomfortable as it is. Okay. So practical tips for reinvention in TA. So integrate AI tools. Again, this is obvious, and I've explained some real actionable ways to get better informed around some of these texts. And of course, you can just sign up to do demos, right? You don't even have to come from an advisory perspective. Just get out there and start looking at it and asking questions. I found that, that was how I learned really, what all the different use cases were right now for recruiting. So two, this is probably my favorite part, but master storytelling, and very much what Anna was talking about too, but like master the art of storytelling, whether it's in interviews, whether it's in networking conversations. Look, I take every single networking conversation that's offered to me because I have no idea what might come from that. I have no idea what synergy there may be, what serendipitous thing may come up. But I just talk to a lot of people. I ask a lot of questions and I listen for a lot of feedback and understanding about different things. But through all that, I can, use and leverage storytelling. I can paint a picture of what I've seen, what I've heard from people, what are some of the common themes, what are some of the trends. I mean, that makes me a thought leader, right? Just talking to people, understanding different perspectives, and being able to speak to them in an unstructured way. Staying ahead of the curve by learning AI tools. That's so basic. AI recruitment budgets. So this is another data point that, again, I'm just taking these at face value. They have sources. I haven't, I don't know how good the sources are. But 73% of companies are expected to increase their AI recruitment budgets. Also tracks. Your unique value proposition. So if you've ever talked to me, I drone on incessantly about unique value proposition. I think in this market, being able to articulate who you are and the very clear and specific value that you bring to solve a very specific set of problems um, is the core of what makes a proactive, aggressive, outbound job search. I don't even think we're in job search strategy anymore. I always say we're in demand gen strategy. When supply and demand imbalance exists, we have to sometimes create some of our own demand. Well, how? Well, let's talk about, look, hey, company A in an interview. Listen, I understand that you've got 100 other talent leaders and recruiters you're talking to, but I want to talk to you about, how I personally have spent the last year understanding all of the different ways AI is leveraged, how it's viewed in the marketplace by job seekers, all of that. But being able to come to the conversation as a strategic thought leader, because I promise a lot of companies have no idea how to well use this stuff. So coming to the table as a, listen, I figured out what some of the problems are. Let me explain. Here's how we can solve some of those. Puts you in a different position. Challenging the narrative. It's all about shifting the narrative. It's not here to take over. It's here to augment you. It's here to make you better. Use personal reflection, pivot with your pivot, use your personal story, use what's real and authentic to you. And not everybody's going to do it. Not everybody's going to shift. Not everybody knows how. Not everybody's comfortable with it. But, you know, that's just what it is, right? Be one of the people at the crest of the wave, and understanding this new technology and how to leverage it, and get your story around it really clear. And that's it. I mean, apologies for, kind of, again, I don't know how much I can apologize, but this is me, unstructured, don't love prezos, but I do have a lot to say, and I do have a lot of passion around what I'm trying to get across to people. So I hope that some of you unstructured folks got something out of that as well.
Love it, Lori.
Thank you. Thank you, Hire Easy, for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.